Hey everybody, welcome back to Crypt Monkey Paints, where we're painting little baby plants. They're plant golems. They're adorable and they need hugs and they need lovin's. So we're going to give them lovin's tonight. We're going to put a bunch of paint on them. But I had like the number one question this weekend while we were at CantCon, which was a blast. And hi Nate, I can't reach to type, so hi. Um, Number one question I had while we were at CantCon was, do I need to prime? So these are completely naked, cover the bad, and just ready for me to slap some paint on. So that's what I wanted to do tonight. Just have a little bit of fun and paint some fun little golems. So we're gonna start because we're already late, and you're gonna watch me slap random paint on now. So fun times. So the camera is back down on the table because I was trying to set up the arm and it made me mad. So moved away from it. Just walk away. So we're going to throw some paint on these guys. I'm going to start with, that's kind of my life. Run downstairs, check the printer, run back up. Run downstairs, check the printer, run back up. I am going to start with some greens. And I don't know if this green is even any good anymore. It's been a very long time since I've used it. I almost immediately realized, now that the lights are like shining on me, that right up here has like speckles on the sides of my glasses. But that's okay, because I need to look down here.
I can get you a glass cleaner.
Oh my god, open up. We won't be using it. So Ty's going to clean my glasses.
Oh, let me go get...
While I look for... I'll just... I'm going to look for my other green. How many glasses?
Say that before we came out of starting soon, Rock Fan on YouTube had a good one. Plantman, eat your greens or your greens will eat you. Also, some little Pet Shop of Horror vibes.
Yes, very much so. Well, realistically, if there's any kind of plant that has any kind of mouth on it, I immediately go to Audrey too. Because, no, why wouldn't you? Really? Ugh. You know what? We're gonna keep with the green we have and add a little bit of other colors in to make some darker spots. Probably. Yeah, that's good. So I've got all my random stuff set up. And I also am starting off with something abnormal for myself because I got so many fun bases. So I usually play with all of those, but I'm starting off with completely plain bases and square. I never do. And my intent is to use grass on them to make them like, wandering through the fields, right? Move brushes. But we'll see how all that turns out as we move along because we may change our mind. So I'm going to pick a brush and almost stick my finger in paint. And I'm going to start slapping some paint on while you guys tell me how your weekend went.
I was at a con.
What do you mean?
It was fun.
Rotting wood from Reaper. Because that green is immediately too bright for my liking.
Yeah, so Dawn and I were at CantCon out in Kansas City. We were kind of telling you guys about it before. We had fun. We did not get to see Jake and Max Universe or Damaged Microbe, as some of you guys know that. But it was still fun. We got to see a lot of our Kansas City friends in any case.
Much better.
Rockfan says, my D&D group TPK. Congratulations. That's momentous. Positive or negative, that's momentous.
So you guys can see I've got the bright green and the rotting wood, and I'm literally just pulling it with my brush and mixing it right there because I do not need a consistent color on plant life. Anyway, go ahead, Ty.
I mean, You have to feel sad for a moment and then get excited about the new character.
You know, the honestly, like, yeah, I'm sad for the loss of my character and all that kind of stuff, but I'm also like the best stories.
You made it to level 12 before.
It's always those stories that you remember the time that we almost died, or you remember the time we died. You remember the time that everything went completely pear-shaped.
You have to be on the verge or there's no. And sometimes when you're on the verge, you go over.
Or you're pushed.
Or you're pushed. Okay. By another player? Is that what you mean?
Yeah. You know,
Okay.
like when you play catch with a ball that'll transport you to a random location on any potential plane.
I wasn't playing.
No, but you had a chance.
Unfortunately,
It was a fun game of catch. It just didn't last very long.
as far as we know, Cora's character
Survived it.
survived it so far.
No, we do know that because Cora's character was spoken to after they were transported. So they definitely survived the transportation. As of surviving the location, that is yet to be seen.
Rockfan says, I'm making a fighter champion halfling that will wreck everyone.
And lick every doorknob you see.
I think that is in reference to my Pathfinder halfling barbarian. He was a doorknob licker. For sure.
He was so angry.
So I'm definitely doing one sunflower.
Welcome back, Nate.
Welcome back. But I haven't decided if the other, both of them are going to be sunflowers, or if I'm going to do one other flower and one sunflower. So that is still up for debate, choice, anything like that. Vote. We should do a poll. We haven't done a poll in a long.
I can do that in a minute, but first there is a resin question.
I have a resin answer. Let's see if they match.
It's not a question, it's a comment, but maybe you have a. Nate says, I can't seem to get this water washable resin to print worth a darn. A whole plate failed. Third one in a row on my pattern. Ah well, live and learn.
My retort or my response would be, yep.
Have we tried that before, the water washable stuff?
I have not personally tried it, but we do have a few friends that resin print. They desperately wanted it to work, and they have gotten good results. They have not gotten reliable results, I should say. Whereas the alcohol wash resin, the standard, I've gotten reliable, repeatable results. So my actual problem solving brain immediately goes to one, have you printed these files before? So you've gotten a good result from that file, because right now you've got to narrow down, is it your resin? Is it your machine? Is it your settings? Is it the file itself? So that would be my first question. Have you ever printed these?
First Rockband says, we are playing Ravenloft next, and I am going to be throwing bottles of holy water like holy hand grenades. Excellent. Nate, the adventurer said, or Nate, Nate,
It just keeps jumping out of my hand.
I'm not sure how to say. Nate Adventurer, I'll do that. Nate Adventurer, yes, I was printing them fine with the Anycubic standard gray resin.
So we know the file is fine. Did you adjust your settings at all when you switched to the other resin? I'm having that leaf right over there.
The water washable is Elegoo, and I have printed with Elegoo standard resin just fine.
Yeah, I've print with. That's actually what I started printing with was the Elegoo brand, and I was happy with it. Stop
Then he
it.
says, I did. I followed the Elegoo chart for the water washable.
Um, and I'm not trying to like step on toes and be know-it-all or anything like that. I mean, it's just my natural love. I hear somebody say something and I want to help. So
Nate just met us this weekend, so he knows how we get into it.
yeah, this is true. This is true.
And he gets into it too. So gave us when it gets unpacked, I'm gonna have to show the filament fisherman shack.
Oh, and I think I told Nate this, but I was talking with somebody else about their filament printer, and I pulled that fisherman's hut out, and they're like, "Yeah, that's a really nice print." I'm like, "Yeah, it's not resin." They're like, "Whoa!" I'm like, "Yeah." As soon as Ty gets those settings, out, then we'll email you the settings too. And yeah, he's super excited to try that too because him and me both were like blown away that was not resin.
Rockfan says people underestimate how much work goes into these minis. Yeah, I think that's true. I think
I did not feel that this weekend.
No. But I think that you haven't tried it. And I mean it's expensive to just try it, right? But if you haven't tried it, you don't understand necessarily the amount of work involved in just getting set up.
Well, and not only that, just, like Sunbaran and I were talking the other day about my typical, hi,
Ghosty.
Hi, Golden. Sunbaran and I were talking the other day just about my typical, this is my, kind of my normal schedule, what I do during the day. And she was very surprised at how often I had to get files ready to print. Well, yeah,
hello, Regina.
Hi, Regina.
I was not expecting it that soon.
No. So it was something that I was a little surprised that she didn't know how much of my day was dedicated to just getting files ready.
Especially if you're trying to get ready days.
Yeah. So I think that's something that is definitely underestimated.
Hope everybody heard me. I just realized I was on mute while I was moving my mic around.
But it's kind of one of those things where, I can get a file ready and I can reprint that file a lot and without having to get it ready again. But the likelihood that I'm going to have that exact file ordered, especially if it's a small one, have that file ordered with this file again, it means I'm pretty much, redoing files all the time. But anyway, back to my original point, although I do think I saw chat. Plant monsters. Yes, Regina, I am doing plant golems.
Hey, I thought you forgot for a second there.
I did forget for a second.
From Epic Miniatures.
It is a little baby. Not focusing. Wanting to focus on my water back there instead. You just need the little kissers. Anyway, you can see it on the big picture a lot better than I can get it.
Nate says, oh no, I'm hoping that you might have some insight because the standard of both Elegoo and Anycubic both have worked great, and I have used water washable before, but not from Elegoo.
So
what I would be the thing too, right?
Well, what I would do is look back at what settings you were using for the other brand of water washable that did work, and maybe forego, these are my suggested settings. If you knew these settings worked for water washable, try them on the Elegoo. And if that doesn't work, then maybe start with your settings that work for your regular resin and just kind of play with adjusting from there. I find that there's not a whole lot of adjustment that I have to do from switching. Like I have a translucent red that I like to print in, and I don't adjust that one whenever I'm doing straight from, this resin to the red resin. I don't change any settings. I just plug and play and go. So I know they have all their suggested settings, but maybe that's not what you need.
Ghosty says, "Oh, speaking of Elegoo, this thing works amazing. I've definitely made a lot of mistakes already, but the printer is fantastic." That's good to hear.
We all make mistakes. You've probably made about, I would say, 1 gazillionth of the mistakes that I've made so far. But you know what? You learn more from mistakes than you do successes.
Rockfan says, "The plant babies deserve all the head, leaves, hats, and boops." Nate says, "I tried that and it didn't seem to work. This latest plate I adjusted further still had a total failure. Just not 100%. What on earth is happening?"
Okay, really condescending, stupid question. Okay, but I have to ask it.
Assuming that you don't mean it condescending.
I don't mean it condescending, but there's no polite way to ask. Did you level your bed? Is it level? And is your FEP okay?
I was going to ask about the level
okay?
bed, but I thought I'm just being dumb because I don't really know as much about the resin printers.
Well, sometimes when I have a bad failure, it can pull my plate off level, and usually you can kind of visually see it, and you know. But it's also one of those things with resin. It's like you go and go and go, and you're like, you have 2 failures in a row, and you're like, what the hell? And you're like, oh, I didn't re-level after that one, and I'm off now. So there's no nice way to say, try turning it off and on again. It's kind of what, did you check your bed and did you check your FEP is kind of the same.
Do me a favor. Stand up and look behind your machine. Is it plugged in? No.
That's what it felt like I was saying.
Ghosty says, "Yeah, definitely each mistake has been a pain, but I'm getting better and better." Yeah. Nate says, "I literally just did that before the last print. The FEP was replaced last week before I started printing all of those cat minis for the con. I wish it was that easy to fix." Yeah. It's almost got to be a settings thing or something, right?
That's what it makes it sound like. I just wanted to cover the bases, and make sure. I mean, I've just the other day, I replaced some FEP, and then it was like 2 prints later, I had to replace it again because I had a chunk in there that I didn't see. And so I, the very next print, ripped through it again, and it sucks.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was to say, like I said, we've got a friend who it just doesn't always get consistent good prints out of the water washable, and I'm just not a fan. So I will stick with my 3DRS. Love my resin, and super happy with this stuff. I mean,
might want to finish painting that first.
I'm just saying, I'm kind of happy with it.
Ghosty says, "Oh my gosh, I just want to share this because I was cracking up at how dumb this was. How dumb this one. My first 2 prints didn't stick to the build plate at all, and I was getting really frustrated."
Wait, don't read it all the way. I've not looked. I'm curious if it's what I did. I printed and nothing stuck to the build plate whatsoever, and I realized I had not pulled the film off of the build plate. Is that what it says? Is that what it says? See, I don't know you.
Hey, let go to be rude and interrupt me. Ghosty continues. Then I realized the build plate had a second piece of film over it. So yeah, that was embarrassing. Apparently not that embarrassing, right?
Ghosty, I already had 4 machines before I did that.
That's friggin' embarrassing.
That's embarrassing.
Nate says, "I should mention that my friend Chef Tig using the same type, but a different bottle on his Saturn. On his Saturn had failures as well, but his isn't total plate failures, or his aren't total plate failures rather." Nate asks, 3DRS, that is the resin that we get in California, I believe.
Yes. No. No, they're not in California.
Oh no, they're in Illinois.
Illinois,
that's right. That's where the last company was. Yeah, sorry.
No, the last company was overseas. They ship it to California, and then it would come to us from California.
Oh, that explains a lot.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I mean, they were a good resin too.
It's a good Cybertech. I really like the resin, and I would
shipping problems.
continue to use that resin on a personal level. But 3DRS is on a shipping level just beyond amazingly quick. I can order in the morning and have it here tomorrow morning without paying expedited shipping. Just normal click buy, here it is. No restrictions on my, how much I buy. I don't know why anybody would limit me on how much I can spend on their company, but they, Cybertech did. The quality of the resin, I was really super happy with. I'm happier with 3DRS and highly recommend them.
Regina says, I don't know why I thought gap filling would be easy. I definitely need some practice. Found my sculpting tools, though, so that should help.
That will help. It is actually really, really super useful to have those sculpting tools. Yeah, I know what you mean, Regina, because basically I was like, okay, well, all I need to do is shove this in here and kind of smoosh it around and I'll be fine. And yeah, now I need more practice at it too. I prefer to not have to gap fill. If I don't have to, I avoid it like the plague.
Before I go on with chat, did you want me to run a poll?
I was going to, and I forgot what. Oh, colors of. So we're doing one sunflower for sure. And the other flower we need to figure out. Okay, here's the poll. It's going to be shades of purple, shades of pink, or another sunflower. That's the three choices.
So, what color for the next flower is the poll?
Yes. Yeah, I actually.
Of purple. No, you have to keep helping me first.
Okay. Well, I'm answering. I think that's Nate. Yeah. Yeah, I buy 4 bottles at a time of the 4K bottles.
Shades of purple, shades of
Pink, shades
or,
of red.
Well, pink a shade of red?
No. It's
Okay.
2 different options.
Shades of red, and was there another one?
Keep it both sunflowers. Ooh. Ghosty, I gotta move my phone so I can read it.
All right, how much time do you want for this?
3 minutes, 2 minutes. I don't care. Just a couple minutes.
3 minutes. It's going to be a 3-minute poll. We are starting now.
Okay, vote for what
those
color.
of you on YouTube, sorry, I'm only setting this up on
Rock
on,
fans, shout it
Twitch.
out and we'll count you. We'll add it to the poll numbers. So Ghosty says, oh, and I made a big mistake today. I don't know if it's a hole in the vat or just me being careless, but I got a little resin on the LCD screen. Is there a way to get it off without unscrewing the screen, or do I just need to replace the screen as a whole? Okay, quick question. Do you mean the touch screen where you touch everything to change it, or do you mean the screen that sits underneath the vat? Because there's 2 different methods of cleaning that. I mean, they're really the same thing, but one is be so much more careful.
I mean, he says LCD screen. My guess is he means it's the control screen.
But they're both LCD.
I know, but I'm just being hopeful.
I am too.
You don't want to have to change that damn screen.
No.
I mean,
no.
You're going to have to eventually, probably. Maybe,
yes, because they do wear out. But if it's the front touch screen, then it's turn off the machine so you're not pushing buttons while you clean it, and you just wipe it down with. Okay, where the UV light is coming from. Okay.
We can add one for the purple shades, just so you know. Rock fans voting for that. I'm going to try and catch up on all of this because you skipped stuff. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, Ghosty says there's no way that happened to you two.
Yeah, it really did.
Nate says I did that too, Ghosty, with my first printer.
It was not my first printer.
Ghosty says, oh my gosh, that makes me feel better. Glad I'm not alone. Nate, I think you were talking about the 4-liter bottles already, right?
Yep, and I already got that. Yep.
And you got that. Oh my. Okay, so Rockman voted for purple because purple and yellow are nice contrasts. It's fine just to add my one to purple. Yep, we will do that. Ghosty says, sorry, screen under the vat. So where the UV light is coming.
And Nate has just said basically what I'm going to say the same thing is if you've got a big chunk of it, what I like to do is put alcohol on a paper towel or something and just lay it across it. Don't rub it or anything like that. Just lay it across it to try to kind of let the alcohol soak into the resin. It'll soften it and you can get it off. If it's just like a thin layer, you're much better to try to get it off immediately, but just alcohol and microfiber cloth. Read what he said, because yeah.
Microfiber cloth, yes. Saying it right.
I was saying it right. It was one of those things I was saying it and it didn't sound right.
The poll is just about to end, but I can tell you that it's 100% purple. I think everyone agrees with the contrast. Poll is over. Shades of Purple wins.
Yay! Pretty much, I would say for me, it's about 20% of the time that I get a hole in my FEP paper, I get resin on the screen. So I've cleaned it quite a bit.
Nate says, I've been lucky in that I haven't gotten resin cured on my exposure screen, so mine has always been a liquid, which I clean with a microfiber cloth dedicated to my resin print.
And it's good to have those laying around. I did have one really bad spill, and it was a tear from the FEP. So basically, it sat overnight. So the FEP the liquid just was going out. So it was like completely coating the top curing table spot. Night, guys, we're out. You know what I mean?
Ghosty says, okay, thank you. My heart stopped when I saw that and got super scared I was screwed. I don't think you'd be exactly screwed anyway.
No, because you can replace it.
Yeah, it's just not something you want to have to do very often.
Well, so what happened is I was trying to clean mine off, and it was so stuck and cured on there that I was going to have to actually like scrape it off. So I was doing that extremely slowly, extremely carefully. Like even when I started getting frustrated, I would literally set it down and walk away for a minute because I didn't want to gouge it, right? And I was going and going and going, and I just about had the last piece off, and I gouged down into what I thought was the screen. But it was actually a protective film that they had put on it. So 2 hours later, I realized I could have taken that black tape off, removed the protective layer, and put a new one down and put that black tape back down.
I remember this. Rockfan says, resin spills are a pain. Sadly, it can ruin a whole pin. I'm assuming that means the pins, the cable pins.
Well, that too, yes, those should actually be cleaned off, but I think they're actually referring to like an enamel pin or things like that.
Oh, I see. I went straight to the pins on the end of a cable that you plug the monitor in.
So, basically, we have slapped green paint over this, and I actually can't really see my monitor at all because the light right here is kind of blinding me.
Yeah, we're not set up as we normally are.
So, what I need to know is that even in focus?
You were right. Rockfan says, I make paint.
Yeah, I was pretty sure, but I couldn't remember for sure.
It's just okay. You want me to...
You can play with that, but I just want to point out that I have been painting all over these two models. That one has bumps right there and it scratched me. With no primer, just straight onto the resin, and I'm not pulling it off with my fingers. Oh, and also cheap crap paint.
Your favorite.
Well, I'm
really
like,
not,
I'm serious. Well, I had the other green and it didn't work. It was dead. I had the Citadel green and it was completely dead. So move over to the other green, which was a little too bright. But anyway, so proof is in the pudding. You do not have to prime these if you don't want to. I think there are certain things that you absolutely need to prime. These are not one of them. So it's a personal preference, what I think.
Rockfan says, "Yay, Walmart paint."
You know, and that was like the number 2 question. What brand of paint do I use when I paint? And my answer is always, and probably always will be, until at some point somebody sponsors me. Hey, Army Painter! Sorry, had a cough there. My answer to that is I care more about the color of paint that I need than the brand. I absolutely despise the layout or the pods from Citadel. I absolutely cannot stand opening those stupid pods. I dump those stupid pods. I hate those pods. But the quality of their paint and their and the variety of colors that they offer make those stupid pods worth it. Because otherwise, I wouldn't have them in this house. But they are worth it. They've got really great ranges of color. And they do their job. Can't really ask for much more from paint anyway. Not like it's going to buy you a cup of coffee when you need coffee.
Rockfan says, "You should mention in the product description, primer not needed. Some might consider it a godsend."
You know, I've thought about that, and then I kind of looked around Etsy, and there's so many people that are like, I offer these pre-primed. I'm like, but you don't have to prime them.
Yeah.
I kind of, I'm worried, am I being an ass? Am I trying, I don't know.
I think you're going to save everybody the couple of bucks that they're charging to prime it.
I have thought about that of saying, these don't need to be primed. You're welcome to, but you don't need. Like I said, that's really, I get asked that way more than just at conventions.
Rockfan says, #get Dawn coffee. Here we go. Yeah.
Here we go.
I was actually going to go get a bottle of water.
No, I have my Coke still. It's just not as good.
I got rid of mine.
Yeah, there's a reason. It's liquid. I pretty much spent the weekend without caffeine though, because the little concession stand that they had at the convention center, obviously not run by the convention employees, because if it was, it would have been better. Their coffee was not drinkable. I got 1 cup and I took 2 sips and then I threw it away. They also serve Pepsi products, which I don't drink. So I had water all weekend, which is great, and I drink a lot of water anyway. But I do run on some caffeine. A little bit here and there is nice. But we had some caffeine on Thursday on the drive there. And then I had some on Sunday night on the drive home. That was it. No other caffeine besides that couple sips of coffee. And I was like, nah, I'm done. I can't do it. I think Ty drank a couple of cups of that coffee. I don't know how the hell he did it.
I have to have it.
It was so bad.
It didn't taste good, but the dosage was right.
It was so bad. I just couldn't drink that stuff. It was bad. All right, new brush time. Excuse me. No, that's not the brush I want. See, that's why half of my brushes are dirty. Not because I used them, but because I touched paint and decided it's not the brush I wanted.
Rockfan says, "Oh, I am so sorry. Caffeine is lifeblood and bad coffee is shudders. Also, Coke is better than Pepsi." Hey.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not a big fan of Pepsi, but I like other.
Pretty much when it comes to soda, I drink Coke or nothing. So we'll go out to eat somewhere and I'll ask, do you have Pepsi Coke or Pepsi? And they're like, we have Pepsi products. I'm like, lemonade it is. That's my answer. Thank you very much and good night. The hotel stay was not good either. I think a lot of you have probably heard my horror story of the little mini fridge, which is super useful going to a convention because I like to pack bottles of water and then we can just, put it in the mini fridge and then bring in a couple of cold waters every day with us. Kind of save us money. We don't have to pay $10 for a bottle of water. Oh, I'm sorry. I got a bottle of water and a bottle of tea for $10, not just one bottle of water. Anyway, the people who stayed in the room before us had put their leftovers into the little mini fridge and left it and also unplugged it. So you can imagine our lovely smell as soon as we opened the fridge.
And not an accident. I mean, it's hard to get back there and plug it in and unplug it.
We actually had to move the dresser to unplug it. It's not something you tripped on. You moved the dresser that was holding the TV, and we had to move it together.
Roxanne says root beer is nectar of the gods. I like root beer. Yeah.
I don't even like the smell of root beer.
Nate says, yeah, con prices stink. They definitely do.
Yeah. The service was awesome, wasn't it, Nate, over there?
Regina says that price is awful. Gross.
Yeah.
Gross was, I think, for the fridge. Yeah. It was.
It was. And it never got cleaned either, which was depressing in itself. My favorite story about the con, though, and again, this is not the con, this is the convention center that the con was held in. My favorite one was I went up to order us dinner, and they're like, oh, we're sorry, the kitchen, closes at 8. I'm like, but it's like 5 till 8. She's like, yeah, we're closed. I'm like, do you close now or do you close at 8? She's, yeah, we close at 8. I'm like, but it's not 8. It's got like 5 more minutes. She's, yeah, we're closed. I'm like, what is happening right now? I'm like, I just want food.
Rockfan says, wow, the hotel did not clean the fridge. That's concerning. We thought that too.
Yeah.
Hope you double checked for signs of bed bugs. Double check.
We're doing the bug thing
now.
now?
But now I'm kind of itchy now that you say.
No, I got a little survey from them this morning saying, how likely are you to stay here again? 0?
Nate says that's a health code violation. I didn't realize that, but I think that also makes sense.
And it's not like I didn't tell them. I mean, they even asked me, okay, what time are you going to be out of the room tomorrow? And I'm like, from this time to this time, you've got all day long to get in there and get it cleaned up. Yes, you can.
We haven't even heard the question.
Okay.
All right, I'm leaving.
But you
I was going
can.
to ask you if I can go somewhere. No, is it all right if I talk about Patreon for a minute?
Absolutely, please do, because I'm literally still just slapping paint on. I got my favorite green out, and I am dry brushing to give some pretty bright leaves.
So first, I'll actually just talk about crowd forging. Tomorrow night,
yes,
we'll be painting, and we will be crowd forging with viewers. We are going to be crowd forging on the Kern Medic. Last week, we intended to do that, and then we had to duck out the last moment. But there is information in. Let me check. Where did I put? General? I think it's in general. Yes, in Kethar General, under the plane category, I have given out some information that was previously just for subscribers about the Kern clan. Because we're going to be talking tomorrow night about the Kern clan medic. You might want to read some of that if you want to jump in and do some crowd forging tomorrow, because, and that's in Discord. I don't know if I just talked about categories and stuff and didn't mention it. In Discord under the plane. They're a little bit different. They're battle hardened. They're often at war, so their kind of medic is more about get them out there than it is let's make them feel better. So this should be interesting.
Don't really care if you are top notch. All I care is, does your trigger finger work?
Yeah, and maybe I don't even care if you make it past the end of the battle as long as you can get to the end of the battle.
Or take out a bunch on the way.
Yeah, yeah. So rough bunch of folks, but that's what we're going to be talking about tomorrow night. That is a new adventuring career that we're going to be working on. So that should be fun. Back to my notes. The story for subscribers actually finished section 2 today, so tomorrow we'll be going over a little bit of a rewrite on 1, just adding a couple of description things for the dog ox, and putting a decent draft on section or scene 2, and then let some other people read it here at Crypt Monkey, and if we're all good with it, then probably it'll be out Thursday. Then would be my best guess. Thursday evening for that's for placement advisors subscribers. That's groovy. And then since it is August now, I just want to remind everybody that our content for August this month from the plane is going to be Night Swarmer concept art that Dawn's going to put together. We're going to put together a dossier for the Chupacabra. We're going to put together dossier and concept art together, which we don't usually do. Usually we do one or the other as part of the content release. But this is going to be for sky jellies. I know any of you have been around for our discussions of sky jellies before. This is big. Well, the creature's big, so that should be fun.
You know, the really fun part about that was I got bored at the convention, and the back of my name badge was blank, which is pretty common. I'm not complaining at all about that. I actually kind of appreciated that. So I took it out and I doodled, and I was drawing sky jellies on the back of my name tag.
So we're also going to have a dossier for the River Crawler, which was actually a vehicle that was crowd forged. So while it's just going to be for subscribers this month, in about 3 months, you'll get some picture of that, or well, some description of that on the .net site too. And then Longshore, which we've also talked about in crowd forging, which started out as this sort of like, we're not even going to name it or anything yet. Just imagine you have this city that follows the side of a lake, and careers, I think we were talking about that time. It's a city in the world now, so we're going to have a dossier on that as well. And then for placement advisors this month, I love this one. This is going to be a lot of fun. We are going to explain finally what the cataclysm was. What happened on Cathar that caused everything to be dropped back into prehistoric times, essentially.
Yeah. And Ghosty, just so you know about the Night Swarmers, while I'm working on them, because I've already kind of started roughing it out, your image is right there, like while I work. So it may not look exact, but it's heavily inspired by.
It's source material.
It is source material. That's a great way of saying it. Hellos. Getting my colors for my flowers together. Those. So, Mythica orange, fire lizard, matte white. That's going to be my sunflower.
For anybody who's interested in getting involved in subscribing for the plane, well, if you haven't been around here for it yet, first I'd suggest check us out tomorrow night, because we'll be crowd forging with viewers on that Kern Medic. But then after that, if you're interested in it, you can find us on Patreon. I think every once in a while in the chat on Twitch, you'll see that pop up, the link to our Patreon. Okay. So, Rockfan says they need to clean. No slacking. Cover was a lesson.
Huh?
I don't know if I'm reading right. I think they're essentially saying they need to not be lazy asses and and clean the room like they're supposed to for people's health and sake. Yeah, you saw that about Ghost. He said, I just want to say I'm so freaking excited about this month. Really excited about all this stuff, especially the Night Swarmers. Oh, I'm sorry. Kick that over there at you.
Yeah, it keeps hitting my knee.
I need to get it out of there.
It's right on my... So there's basically, me and Ty sit on the opposite sides of his desk, and there's a tote underneath, and he's pushing it out of his way, and I'm pushing it out of my way. But it's on my bad knee side, which is saying I have a bad knee is, I have an uncomfortable knee. And the surgery scar is right down the center of the front of my knee. So when something touches that, it's very uncomfortable.
So I kicked it right into it.
So you just and it's, he says kick, but it's basically, it just went.
Yeah,
I
slid it. My foot, I don't know.
Just slid it right over there, but it's like, nope.
I'm sorry.
Nope, not there.
Roxanne says, also, I'm mad at you guys. Oh, you want me to keep reading? Okay.
I didn't do it, he did it.
I just paid off my card and you release a Japanese Yoki theme mini set. I need it.
That wasn't me.
Also, I need to make a Discord. Yeah, join us on Discord too.
Yes. That wasn't me. So I don't sculpt. I don't even decide what they're going to sculpt. I mean, I vote for things, but that's it. And I didn't vote for that one.
Ghosty says, of course, that design I did was a very loose, early design, so of course, change it as much as you want. You're the artist.
Well, I mean, there was a lot of good stuff, and I think a lot of it will work and translate, but also it's less about what I think works physically for the animal and more about what works with my drawing style is really what it boils down to.
And what I demand.
No, that's not how it works. Okay. Nope.
Trying to remember, when did we put out the Campfire Story Blue? Was that last month? It probably was just last month.
Seems right.
But that means that next month we'll have a Campfire Story we could release that includes Night Swarmers in it.
Yeah.
Do. Yep, it was in June.
That's what I thought.
So, and I want to get some more stuff that we could release now out on Crypt.net pretty soon too. I don't even know if I even announced that we put Dog Ox out there. I think I just put it out there. That's on Crypt.net now. Which was some of the developed content. Regina says, I'm almost done with the gap filling, and if I break anything, I'm going to be so mad.
I've done that. I've got everything gap filled. I actually got something like almost completely painted and then dropped it.
Ghosty says, also off topic, have y'all heard of Loot Studios?
Yes, quite a few times I have looked at Loot Studios because they're amazing. The issue that I personally have with them is that they have no merchant tier, and it doesn't look like they will have a merchant. Last I looked, which was last month.
Ghosty says, Regina, gap filling is such a pain. I usually take several days to do it because I get so frustrated, bored. I need to just take a step back.
Yep.
It seems like the kind of thing I would do poorly.
Well, I mean, we've seen some of my gap filling jobs, and they've been horrific. And then the worst part about it is you do a bad gap job and you can sand it and fix it, but if you're like me and you're impatient and you just like, screw it, I'll paint it, all you're doing is highlighting all of those bad gaps or lumps because you didn't get a smooth gap fill. So it can take a really amazing model and basically just trash it, or take a really amazing paint job and highlight the one thing that you're going to make a mistake on, and then that's the only thing you see because that's what you did.
Nate says, I was subbed to their sci-fi set when they started it, but I canceled last month because their sci-fi minis had just become a knockoff of various sci-fi properties, but their fantasy stuff is pretty good.
We were talking about that with Nate at the con.
Ghosty says the first models I bought were huge Viking set from them, and their models are amazing. I'm doing my first bust right now, and the detail is just stunning, and they print fantastic.
I've really heard a lot of good things about them. I just, at this point, I've got so many models that it's difficult for me to justify picking up somebody that I can't also sell.
Yeah, we put a lot of money out each month on those. Ghosty says I've printed a handful of Lord of the Print models, and I gotta say, Loot Studios prints so much better, at least in my experience.
Yeah, Ghosty, when are you using Lord of the Print supports, or are you supporting it yourself?
Regina says, but I've already painted it.
Well, and that's the golden ghosty dragon that I have, Regina, is it's painted, and I had to go back and gap fill. So it's almost done. As soon as I'm like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and finish that now, which I just haven't done because it looked amazing. And then I realized I had some pretty bad gaps, and I just haven't gone back into it yet. Because I'm frustrated with it, and I'm just going to leave it alone. I'll finish it eventually. Or I'll die, and I won't have to worry about it. Either way.
Dramatic. Nothing.
No, I heard you. You're not wrong. I'm using his supports, but I don't really like them. So one of the things that I have found is he's got the beef supports, and then he's got the regular supports. I much prefer the beef ones. They work way better. In general, I do tend to just support his myself. Dragon Trappers I also do because they over support, in my opinion. I feel like Lord of the Print doesn't support enough, and Dragon Trappers over supports. Two lines there, you know? But I found with the 3DRS resin, his regular support's almost guaranteed to fail every time. They just don't hold on to the model.
Ghosty says, I'm using his supports, but I don't really like them.
What I was just talking about.
Okay. And Regina says, these wings are not well made to connect. That's on that golden dragon?
No, I was just talking about the
Oh.
Golden Dragon. That's the Forest Dragon from Lord of the Print, or not Lord of the Print, from Dragon Trapper's Lodge. That's the one that I did for Sawdust. But yeah, that one was grab it, glue it, and sit there forever, holding it, pinching it, and shoving it into place. But yeah, it wasn't the easiest to make work. Just some models work better than others. I try to print things in a way that is both easy to paint and easy to assemble if needed for painting, or just because of the sheer size of the model. But
Regina says, green stuff is doing okay. Ghosty says, that makes sense. I'll try printing with the beefed because all the models I printed of Lord of the Print has some kind of...
they just kind of fall off. It's they just don't hold on to it enough. Gina, I am trying. I don't have it. Regina, I'll post a picture in Discord. I got a new kind of gap filler. I think you're probably better off just sticking with the green stuff for this. I mean, you're going to finish before anything else gets shipped in anyway. But I am trying something else. I've kind of tried it on a one little small section, but I'm hoping it works not better because green stuff is fine. I just am looking for something that is a little bit more, just a little more. That's all I can't even think of how to phrase it, but you gap fillers out there know what I mean. It's like this just a little more, just a little better, just a little bit, easier. I don't know. Just a little more. More user friendly. More helpful. Like a lot of times I find that it's like you dry too soon or not soon enough. Just not quite there. It's just not quite right.
Ghosty says, I will say this much, though. The Loot Studios models fit together like a glove when printed in parts. Haven't even had to do any gap filling. They are that good. Whereas Lord of the Print almost always needs gap filling.
And then, unfortunately for me as a seller, I feel like I'm getting dinged for that. Like, I'm like, I don't model them, I just print them, and I do the best I can to make sure that everything works the way it's supposed to. But sometimes the way it's supposed to work is not the best. Why do these keep just jumping out of my hand? I don't know if my hand is just like sore or what. I'll tell you though, for sure, loading and unloading into and setting up the booth and getting everything ready for the con and then getting everything back home again, that kicked my ass. Oh my God, that was rough.
Yeah. It's been a lot the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. So, those of you in Discord may have noticed that I forgot to do something. Just kind of realized. So there is no Ultra Stream.
No, you said someone did notice, or?
No, I said for those of you in Discord, you may have noticed that I forgot something.
So that means
Free for all. That means go take a peek around.
Yep, if anybody wants to use the Alter the Streams, then look around on our Etsy shop, and if you see something you'd like to see us print, spend your 2,000 points, make Dr. Hack Crypt yell at us, and Dawn will do it. The one caveat being we're gonna print it in a size that we can quickly.
Yeah, it's got to be something that I can paint in an episode or 4.
Regina says, I noticed.
I figured. Also, there's new releases out this week too, so
This is Dr. PJ Hackcliffe, and I have
That was quick.
for you. Someone has altered the stream.
Okay, Regina.
Ah,
I noticed that's why I asked.
that's why I asked. That's awesome.
Okay. I'm so behind on here. Let's say, Roxanne says, it's too bad. I love Lord of the Prince designs. Regina says, they want to dance. Dancing flowers. I noticed. That's why I asked about the stream tonight. Ghosty says, beat me by a second. You don't even know what you want yet, or
You're just using those points to
just
make
getting
sure
in
you
there.
got it.
I mean, it's not against the rules, right?
Nope, absolutely not.
Because we don't have any rules.
Yeah.
How we live. Ish.
I can see a little white spot, like right in there, and it's driving me insane, and I can't quite get my brush to it.
I am trying to find it.
That is good enough. All right. Gotta look, almost done with cat. I'm going to do something. Let's see, some purple hues for other one. I'll use I knew I've got orc blood. There we go. That's figured it out. Takes me a minute. Um.
Ah, smart. I didn't even think to do that, Ghosty says.
So, I know we also have a bunch of new models out because, it's beginning of the month. So, if there's something that you know that someone has released that we carry, then you can obviously do that too. Or you can ask for that, and if I have it, I'll definitely do it. Sunflowers have dark centers in the middle, don't they?
Yeah, black. Like,
Doing the wrong color.
I'm gonna try something here if it's all right with you, Dawn. I'm gonna read an excerpt from the short story we're working on. It's not actually giving out anything that the patrons don't have access to, and it's just a tiny bit. This is the Tara Olds short story. 1 second though. Ghosty says, so I'm making my bust in the Norse god of war, Tyr? Oh, I think you got me on that one. Either Tyr or Tyr, I think. And he only has one hand, so I had to sculpt away one hand, and I got to send a picture of it. I'm so proud of it. Awesome.
I actually find most busts either have no arms or they'll just have the one arm.
So this includes a little bit of the things that we've crowd forged before. Just a couple of paragraphs. Mark my spot so I don't go beyond. I'll go beyond the point that
that you're supposed to.
that the subscribers have. So this is Tara Old's character in this short story that the story is named after. So she's out on the plane. How do I set this up? She's in danger. Her and her dog ox Snorts is in danger. Walking quickly now, though trying to move smoothly and quietly, Tara continued to the dog ox enclosure of her land ship. As she did, two things happened at once. First, the reindeer youth began scraping at the ground and huffing loudly. He clearly was not going to allow invasion of his territory. Second, Tara felt a great deal of dread and unsurety at what her home was capable of withstanding. Most of the time she was able to carefully avoid really large, terrible danger like this. That's why she had felt it would be fine to sell off so many pieces of the once big metal box over the years. She thought, be careful and be unseen. That would be enough. Well, maybe not. As calmly as she could, Tara set the heavy yoke down in its storage cradle, turned back to the enclosure door. Looking south to her left, the young buck, shaking his head as if his rack were more than a couple of 2 foot long nubs, was clearly getting ready to charge. Looking back north to her right, it seemed that Mama had realized something was wrong and was running at a full-on sprint toward them. The last thing Tara saw as she pulled the metal door closed was the little reindeer lower his head and begin to charge. So there's a little clip of something we're actually using and developing. We've talked about dog ox. We've talked about the plane, of course. Dog ox, the land ship. This is a young reindeer that they're in trouble with. So, yeah, it feels good to actually be putting stuff from the plane in motion.
Yeah.
Ghosty says, the bust is holding a shield, and so I sculpted away the hand to be like a metal gauntlet that attaches to his arm. And it's pronounced Tyr. Oh, I think that was one of the ones I guessed. I didn't even think to use that as your tricky word of the stream. I would have gotten it if it was tricky, probably. Ghosty says, I freaking love this story. Thank you, Ghosty. Thank you. Well, now that scene 2 is finished, once we get it all polished up, I hope you like where it's going. Or where you think it's going. Rockfan says, now all I can think of is that the Raindar slamming into a metal door. Out of the way. There we go. Sorry, I had a Steam thing get in my way. Raindar slamming into a metal door like a Looney Tunes, laugh out loud. Yeah, it's actually kind of big. It's a young Raindar, but it's about 17 foot tall. And Mama's headed their way, and Mama is 8 stories tall, or almost 8 stories tall, so almost 80 feet tall. Or Tom and Jerry, Rockfan says. I love Tom and Jerry. That poor dumb cat. Mouse was always wrecking him.
He got a dirty look because I was getting ready to do an eyeball.
Got a dirty look? Did I hammer the
You
table
didn't.
or something?
I was getting ready to put the brush down to it, and you started shifting all your weights. I'm like, just waiting.
Anyway, I only read up to the sentence that I know subscribers have. Because that's actually a little bit longer of a paragraph now, but yeah, it's fun. Ghosty says it slams into the metal house and tips over with a little sky jelly circling his head. Like the birdies, right? Yeah. Rockfan says Jerry was the bad guy. Tom was doing his job as the house cat. No kidding, right?
Yep. So I have like the thing right here on his head is not another eyeball, but I painted it white anyway because I want to put my yellow shade, kind of give him a nice orange spot right there once that's dry. Starting to dry out on me. This is why you use a wet palette. Not me, but you know.
I've zoomed in just a Rockfan says also is a great hook. I'm interested. Cool, that was the intent.
Definitely the hope.
I think we mentioned a week or two, well, now it's a few weeks ago, a stream or two ago, that we're also starting to look more seriously at the gaming side of it and considering trying to narrow down at least the open systems that we use for the skin.
Need a time check because I feel like I'm about out of time.
It is about 5 till 8. I mean, yes. A little over half hour. But you can continue on these tomorrow if you want to, or had you already thought about what you might do tomorrow?
Well,
there's basing too yet, right?
There's basing too, yeah. But the basing is actually going to be fairly boring because I'm literally going to take these pieces of grass, the tufts of grass, and just completely coat it to where it's going to be an expensive base. Those tufts are not cheap. But I really want them like in this field of grass, you know? I feel like that's where they should be, where I want to place them.
Is that how you feel, Dawn? You feel that way?
I want to send them home. They need to be in their home.
Petals.
So
Regina says, but you like bases.
I do, but they it's a simple base, but it's going to look amazing. Because open. Blech. I got tufts running away. So I have all these tufts, and they were supposed to be in varying sizes, and they aren't. But so what I want to do is, see, I'm going to need to, they won't sit against each other really well.
Too zoomed in now?
No, you're fine. So I'm going to have to kind of smush them. And also another way of kind of helping that is you can cut them.
Rockfan says, it's summer. There is free grass outside.
Right. You take it and kind of cut it in half. Usually they stay together better than this. I won't be buying this brand again, by the way. You can kind of smush them all around, but I mean, basically you kind of get the feel of it. I just put them like this, and look how cool that was. So yeah, that's my intent, is to do this, which would not be super interesting for you guys. If I decide, because I'm obviously not going to get to the basing tonight. If I decide, you know, ooh, shaky camera, sorry guys, that's not the route I'm going to go, then yeah, maybe I'll just spend tomorrow making elaborate bases. But for now, little dot of black. Know how to finish the eyeball. And put this on there. Should make that spot nice and bright more.
How much are you putting?
Just a dot.
You do that every time I just happen to be on that lower.
So then we've got our cute little sunflower doing his little handstand. He's not adorable. Now, who could even find that threatening? That's just not scary at all. Now we can work on our purple one. Find the brush that worked really well for the petals, and this isn't it, but we're going to try it. So now I've got my royal purple, orc blood, and mutant hue. So I was pretty sure I could get 2 done. Just because they're pretty much all the same color and method and all that, you know?
Ghosty asks, have you ever considered getting a static grass applicator?
Many, many, many times.
I don't know what that is.
Messy. Can be.
Not at my desk. No, really, what I...
If it is what I'm thinking it is, it's basically, it's how they make beads in the first place. They put a dot of glue, they put the grass down, and then they put almost like a vacuum over it, but it's not a vacuum because it's static. that makes it stand upright.
Huh.
So you could lay down all your glue, lay down all your static grass, and then just kind of go over it and make it stand up. So the pile or the loose grass that I have would actually work to apply it all over this.
Oh, wow.
So if I'm thinking of the same thing, I may be thinking of the wrong thing. Ghosty will fix that if I am.
Regina says, I kind of want to request a giant mushroom nymph. Maybe that's because I want to paint one.
I actually had to upsize her from the way she was originally designed because she printed so tiny that it was just like I just lose her. I can't even do that. But I mean, if that's what you want me to paint, I will absolutely. So I always kind of adjust the size of the model that I'm going to be painting based on what, what the model is. That would be a model that I would definitely upsize because there's no way in hell you guys would see anything that I'm doing. And I would be painting like this the entire night because she's tiny. So I would make her larger so that you could really see what I'm doing.
Ghosty says, that's the one. I recently got one and it's amazing.
I've looked at them more often than I care to admit because I've never bought one. But my biggest concern is that grass is already messy. And then trying to make it do what it's supposed to do. I'm like, do I want the mess or do I want to just pay the price to have it done for me? I think I just want to pay the price to have it done for me. That purple is too dark.
Regina says, I'm guessing Cursed Dragon versus Armored Dragon is too big.
Yes. Unfortunately, that is an epic print.
Like a epic miniatures, or you're saying it's like a gargantuan?
No, it's bigger than that. The dragons are both gargantuan, and then they're doing a battle on a ship. See, I pretty much know all of the models. Ty, not so much.
I do. Rockfan says she will be Queen Mushroom Nymph.
Yeah. I would basically
it is
have
quite epic, Regina says.
I would literally, for that one, would be one that I would have to size down. See, I clipped that grass, Ghosty, and now I'm constantly scratching my nose just because I have a few little pieces. So I don't think I actually want to have one of those things.
Ghosty says it's really not as bad as you'd think. It takes slightly more work than Tufts, but I think it's worth it. Regina asks, how about Laurentia?
I gotta. Oh, that would be fun. That one's really beautiful. I'm fine with doing the mushroom nymph too, though. It's just the dragons I would have to scale way down in order to do them, and that's not really fair to them. But the nymph I would bring up. Laurentia, I think I would probably do a little bit smaller, or right at her correct size. But I mean, it's your points, honey. You pick it. I'll make it work. I just would prefer not the dragon battle. That's a little bit much.
Might be more than even 2 nights.
Oh, yeah. That would be one that I would paint and take to Archon for the painting contest. That's what that would be.
Wow. Let's do Laurentia, as Gina says.
Got it.
For those of you that don't know, on Twitch, you can still spend your Alter the Streams points for next week now, but you are going to be you're going to be choosing something thematic, color, things like that.
Yeah.
Guess I should.
She's really kind of cool. I honestly kind of want to do Larenthia and then do the mushroom nymph at like one of her hooves sort of things.
Who is that by?
Mammoth.
Oh.
Yes. I can absolutely print her bigger. It's really cool, isn't she? I'm almost wondering if I could do the mushroom nymph large enough to sit on Larenthia's back, because the way she's posed, she might actually kind of side saddle ride. It'd be her, the Queen Nymph's chariot coming in. To play around with that to see if I can get her to fit.
Regina says that'd be cool. Ghosty says, Dawn, feel free to forget the altar of the stream next week.
It's kind of one of those things where I'm almost wondering if that's not a better method to do, of like, you guys just go pick something rather than me restricting you all the time.
Sometimes it's kind of nice to point things.
Yeah,
Hey guys, look at this new stuff we just got in.
And I'm thinking that's what I may do, is kind of change it up of, a couple of times do, the majority of the time is going to be go pick something and let me know. And when I seriously, well, like a good example is we got a new sculptor. I like to feature that new sculptor when we get a new one, So maybe those are more of the times that I restrict it to pick from here, is when we've got something that we really want to show off.
Regina says, let you pick things you want to paint.
It does, but in the same aspect, if I'm honest, most of the time I'm like, and that's good enough, that's good enough, and that's good enough, and that'll print fine, and that'll print fine, and I'm just grabbing.
That may happen sometimes, but how often is it more like, ooh, I really want to paint this. Nobody picked anything, so I'm doing this one.
That's really what it, like, when people don't pick anything, is that I'm like, oh, I printed an extra one of this, and I was really wanting to print it anyway, or paint it anyway, or I'm going to print an extra one of this, and I'll set it off to the side for when no one does pick something. I did do that, actually, a couple of weeks ago. I printed off a mermaid-looking lady, and I'm like, if nobody picks anything, I'm going to paint her, and it was like the very next morning I woke up to somebody had ordered her, and I'm like, well, she has a new home.
I remember that.
Oh, that's okay. Somebody else will get to paint her sooner than I will, that's all.
Regina says, I also like the new thornlings.
Yes. They are smaller, way smaller than I thought they were going to be. And I don't know why, because it very clearly says that they're going to be on a 25 mil base. But I'm like, they are super, super tiny. The bush that goes with it, the swarm, is so freaking cool. But I don't want to paint that one, because it is a swarm of roses, and they are every which way. I'm like, yeah, I would spend so much time going, that's a leaf, that's a petal, but it's super cool. The thornlings I like a little bit more than the swarm, but I do love them as a set. Sure the hell don't want to fight them. That would suck.
You know what's cool about August, right?
Almost October.
Almost Halloween month, which we start at the end of September. Did last year. I'm excited. Ghosty says, I printed a few of the Cyclops from Lord of the Print the other day. Sadly, both had failures, but they were pretty cool. Smaller than I expected, so I had to size them up, but they are cool.
Yeah, and as you get more experienced with getting things ready and printing and everything else, Ghosty, you'll start to see when you get something on the build plate and you're like, it's not really as big as I want it to be. What I did for the longest time was, and I still do it occasionally when I'm second guessing myself, is I have a standard 25 mil base that I just drop it on the build plate and then I put all my stuff and I'm like, I'm expecting it to be this big and it's that big, or I'm expecting something to be this big and it's next to that 25 mil base and it's fitting on there. And I'm like, nah, you're going bigger. So just to give myself like a kind of size comparison right there, because I have, and poor Ty, he's always like, this will fit right here. I'm like, no, it won't. He's like, yes, it will. I'm like, no, it won't. There's no way that's going to fit right there. And he just gets up and moves it over. I'm like, I was wrong. Spatially saying a measurement and me visualize, it just doesn't work. I have to see something next to it. So. Big water section on my brush that is making my paint run. I'm going to dry that off and start over. I know I kind of went off screen for that, but I just took a paper towel to the face of the flower. That's all.
Ghosty says, that's smart. Regina says, just found the seahorse mermaids. Does that mean we're switching, or?
That's up to her. I'm
trying to figure out, do we have the Cyclops from Lord of the Print?
I don't know. Oh,
Trying to find a picture of it. It kept going to Epic.
I think I know which one he's talking about, and if it is, we don't have that one because I've heard really bad stories about no one ever seems to get that one to print right. So he came out before we backed, and I went to go get it, and I heard so many. I can't tell if that's no switching or no, I'm switching.
Regina says, there's a reason I haven't been looking at your Etsy lately. Regina says, no switching. Yeah. I think that means we're not switching.
Okay, Golden says it's the ones from this month, and I haven't actually opened, like, I literally haven't even started getting new files out.
That's what I got you.
Yeah, I thought it was the one that he's got that big, gigantic thing, and he's got like a basket on his back. That's the one I'm talking about that hasn't printed well for people. Apparently, because I don't know. I've never tried. I don't think I have any of this left. I'm going to use that one. This is actually empty. I'm not going to put it back again. I about put it back over there. Anywho.
I might spend points now.
You can't spend points.
I can't.
Not for Alter the Stream.
Unfair.
It is unfair. It's that way intentionally.
Okay.
I don't want things to come and kill me.
Conversely, I need things to come and kill you.
I don't have a toothpick over here.
I'll be back. Oh, before I do that, Regina says, Loranthia and the possibility of a mushroom nymph rider is my final answer. Promise.
Got it. Don't know. We should. In the cabinet with measuring cups. Or with my funnels for baking. Or jelly making, not baking. You've never made jelly? You should. It's amazing. I love making jelly. I try not to do it in the heat of the summer, though, because it sucks. Oh, is there a way to fill in the models? Most of the Lord... Okay, so... Yes and no. I don't know how to fill it, but I do know that what he does is he hollows out the ones that he pre-supports. The ones that he has not supported are usually still solid. Okay. Oh, I forgot Cora was working on that mini tavern. Yeah, you're right. I think they took them all.
Sorry.
Eyeballs don't bounce. You are actually bouncing the table. Try to be a smart ass over there, think he's not actually doing anything, and he is. Alright. So I definitely prefer to do this with toothpicks. Don't move around, but
You were already talking about this last thing from Ghosty about filling.
solid, yes. Decided these petals needed polka dots.
Ghosty says, good to know. I'll have to check. Also, how do I approach adding my own supports? I know how to, I just don't know where to.
So I start with, are you using Chitterbox or Chitubox or people, everyone says it differently. I use their free supports, you know, their standard supports. I just let them fill them in with, I usually start on the light for small models, character models, even like these. I mean, physically light models. I use the light ones. I very, very rarely, I think like in the years that I've been printing, I have used heavy supports twice. I just don't use heavy supports.
Ghosty is using Chitterbox.
So I use their auto button with the light, usually using the light ones. And then I will go around and add or subtract from there. I don't put all the supports on. I let it do the auto thing. And then I kind of figure out where I'm like, okay, that's over supporting, that's under supporting. There's a lot of, and that's definitely something, Ghosty, that I can do a screen share in Discord. We've joked about it a lot of times of, you know, I could go live in Discord and let people watch me play Tetris on my build plate.
Not even really a joke. Something to try, right?
Well, yeah, and I've said the joke because I'm like, why would anybody want to watch that? But then I turn around and Ty and Cora are both just staring at what I'm doing. I'm like, what?
Because he says, oh, cool, I didn't know there was an auto.
Yeah. It's basically, when you're in the support screen, it's kind of down toward the bottom. It's like a platform and all, I think, are the two buttons. Either one of them does the same damn thing, so I don't really understand the two different buttons. I'm sure there is something that's two different buttons, but I don't know what it is. I don't care. I always click the all button. And then, like I said, I kind of go around and play around with, okay, that's over supported or under supported. I like to get all the models that I want on the build plate on there. Get all my tilts done the way I want to. And then I will support them all at once. Because every now and again, I have found that if I am supporting a model, and say I've got, 12 models on the build plate, which is very common for me. And then I'm supporting one, and all other 12, I've spent, 15, 20 minutes getting them all lined up and just right. So nothing is touching, and they're all going to print beautifully. Ah, son of a bitch. Damn it, Golden.
I'm awake.
And I'll go back to, I've got all this one supported, so now I've spent, 30 minutes making this file, and I'll realize all the other models are gone. And it's nothing I've done, it's just occasionally Chit Ubox does that. So I tend to, if I'm going to support, I support everything all at the same time. So if anything disappears, I'm not missing everything.
Ghosty says, sorry, I just saw a chance where you weren't expecting it.
You definitely got a good time on that one. I mean, that's what they're there for, right?
And you should be ashamed of yourself.
Why? Because you didn't think of it? Yeah, I like the Pokémon. Alright, we're going to go a little bit darker for the eyeball. I am almost there. That is the plan for next week, though. I will not be giving an alter the stream. So everybody keep an eye on the Etsy store and decide what you guys want to see. That's what we'll do. Over here. Purple shade. You do the same thing with the nope, not quite enough. And then, do we know what we're talking about tomorrow? Did you already say?
Yeah,
yes, the medic.
The
That's what it
Kern
is.
Clan medic. He'll get you up. He'll beef you up. He doesn't really care if you stay up after the fight, though, necessarily.
Sure.
And because it's a adventuring career, we'll be talking about abilities and things like that. It's concerned.
I kind of feel like I should paint Mark.
Oh, we haven't even talked about that. What modeler was that, first of all?
Great Grimoire.
Great Grimoire has a model of a warrior that's probably some other name, right? But
Mark in this household now.
he's Mark now in this household. Because he's got a pose that's perfect for the first Mark campfire story. Hey, I think actually I'll have to check. That might be able to be released. Because that dude was fun.
I thought so.
Of course you did. You wrote it.
Sure. So I'm just taking a little bit of the purple that I put on his forehead, and I'm kind of deepening a few spots. I don't want it to go everywhere, but you want to. Because on the other one, I took the yellow and I kind of brightened some areas. But on this one, I think I want to go deeper purple, not brighter.
That might have been.
I honestly can't remember. Time is not a thing I pay attention to. All right, guys. We have... Oh, killed Sunflower Boy. Have our 2 plant golems. I love this one's pose, honestly. This is like the cutest little thing. You know what it reminds me of? Is that, oh, I've forgotten her name. But she's the girl in Avatar that she's the contortionist. She's the princess's friend, and she like pokes people and takes away their bending.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember her name now. But that's what this one reminds me of.
it was last month in the content, so next month we could release Mark's Gone Fishing campfire story.
Okay. I'm trying to read real quick. So you should just go ahead and get it out of the way now, or I'm lost on that one.
So should I just go ahead? And get it out of the way now, or
Using the points.
oh, you have to wait till next week.
Nope, you got to be here next week to do it.
Otherwise, if you use it right now, all you can do is change thematically what next week happens.
Yes, Tylee, thank you. Thank you, Regina, Tylee.
Is it really?
Yeah.
That's my family name.
Uh-huh. That's why I was like, there was no way I was ever going to come up with that, because I would have just I was thinking of him.
Mm-hmm.
But doesn't she look like Tylee? So there are our plant golems, nice and done. 2 done in forever. Yeah.
Rockfan says, I'm a simple girl. I just want to see dragons.
Yeah,
you guys are on Twitch, and you guys both got it about the same time. Rockfan and Regina both got Tylee at about the same time.
So one of the other things that I think I might do for the alter the stream is, because there are some people, Rockfan, who can't get points, and I hate that. So we may discuss another way of being able to do the alter. Oh yeah.
No, it's cool. I don't have anything to do or anything, just
No, this would start next month when
we could.
next
month. Hopefully, I do want to try to find a way.
Yeah, because next month we'll be switching
Getting off of Streamlabs.
So there
OBS.
may be other ways that we'll be able to include
Right.
some other people in the things. But
We will try.
yes.
But next week, maybe we can just do the same thing like we did with the poll. Well, no, because it's not
think
a vote.
Golden's-
It's point
yeah.
spending. Damn.
But maybe that is one thing that we can do is do the poll. Like somebody spent their points. Regina spent her points this week. Next week, kind of already got the points claimed out. But the week after that, maybe we'll do a poll and see what people want. That way.
Yeah, like a different event.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure how to get around the points even after we switch.
Yeah.
Rock Van, did I skip some? Oh, no. Rock Van says, Plans babies came out cute. Or the plant babies came out cute. And I don't care about the altars. Don't go crazy for me. I just like watching.
I know. And I appreciate you being here.
Well, one of the cool things
but-
is we are going to get like the chat from both. My
Right.
intention to get the chat from both on the screen so that you guys can kind of see everybody's chat now.
Yeah. So it's we've been planning to move off of Streamlabs for a while now. We had paid for a year's subscription, and that year is ending next month. So this move was happening regardless, and when the move happens, there might be some alternate choices. I don't know yet, but we'll see. It'll be next month. But that is it for tonight. We have cute little plant babies that will beat the ever-living crap out of your character, because I know they don't look all that big, but that is a 50 mil base. So that is twice the size of your character. I'm moving it around as Ty's trying to focus. Their bases need to be elaborated upon. So I will either be doing that, or I will be working on Mark's little diorama. I don't know which one yet. We'll see tomorrow. Hi, Creep Show. I figured you might be there, but I hadn't seen you all night, so because I can't see.
Thanks for hanging out.
So we will see you guys tomorrow. Have a good night, and I'm gonna go reset Prince and